In the heart of Hollywood, where million-dollar marriages can crumble after only a few months, one man has lived beside the woman of his life for 44 years without the need for a ring or a marriage certificate.
In divorce, you're not married. I know, but you've been together 25 years.
Yeah, we are married. We're just not married in the eyes of God. You know, we share everything. I promise. We have promised. We're together. We're together for 30 years, and everything's equal. I just don't need that. I don't need that confirmation, really.
After more than 4 decades of steadfastly rejecting all binding social conventions upon turning 65, Britain's unruly jester suddenly broke his silence with a statement completely contrary to his past. Is this a surrender to old age and illness, or merely a coldly ruthless pragmatic calculation concealed behind a satirical smile? The answer will astonish you.
It's up to you what you believe in, you know. And this thing about not believing in God, there are 2,780 odd gods, and so if you're a Christian, you believe in one of them, and you don't believe in all the others.
On June 25, 1961, Ricky Dean Gervais was born in the suburb of Whitley in the town of Reading, England. The youngest child in a working-class family of 4, grew up among cold brick walls and the smell of industrial coal smoke. His father, an immigrant Canadian bricklayer, had to toil hard on construction sites for meager wages. Meanwhile, his hard-working mother constantly agonized over every penny to sustain frugal daily meals for the entire family. The winter of 1969 marked a psychological turning point that permanently altered the 8-year-old child's worldview. While Ricky was engrossed in drawing a picture of Jesus, his older brother Bob suddenly walked in and sharply questioned their mother. Faced with the question of why one should believe in an unreal entity, the mother could only hesitate before hurriedly evading it. Her bewildered gaze and anxious reaction made young Ricky instantly realize a naked truth. That moment severed every invisible bond between him and religion for the rest of his life. Ricky later admitted, "I realized my mother didn't want me to know that there was no God because this world was already too cruel." 13 years after that shock, young Ricky stepped into the lecture halls of University College London to study philosophy. Here, fate arranged for him to meet history student Jane Fallon, the woman who would accompany him for 4 decades. They quickly found common ground thanks to their sharp sense of humor and independent viewpoints distinct from the majority. In the expensive capital of London, 2 young intellectual souls began bonding without a single penny to their names. After graduating in 1983, Ricky decided to pivot toward the arts with the ambition of becoming a music star. Along with his friend Bill McRae, he formed a new wave band named Siona Dancing, donning a romantic look with heavy makeup. Signed by London Records, the group released the single More to Lose, expecting to create a sensation. Still, harsh reality extinguished everything when the song stalled disappointingly at number 117 on the UK music charts. Although years later the song unexpectedly became an underground phenomenon in the Philippines, the glamorous dream of that era had shattered. This catastrophic failure plunged the young artist straight into a profound financial crisis and an ongoing deadlock. Both were forced to move into a squalid rented room in King's Cross, an area notorious for complex social vices. The cramped, damp living space sat isolated within a suffocating neighborhood, constantly surrounded by noise and perpetual insecurity. Throughout the nearly decade-long stretch of the 1980s, Ricky fell into near-total unemployment. All living expenses, rent, and medication weighed heavily on Jane Fallon's shoulders through her office job at television stations. Even so, they never thought of leaving each other or blaming the harsh reality that besieged them daily. Jane once shared in an interview, "We got through those days with only instant noodles together, where understanding was the only asset left." Still, when fate took a sudden turn overnight, their true trial had only just begun. Could a love born of hardship survive the earthquake of ultimate fame and fortune? The Office earthquake. In the early 1990s, shelving his shattered musical dreams, Ricky Gervais took a job managing events at the University of London Union. For many long years, he lived the quiet life of an ordinary office worker, silently observing the paradoxes of desk-bound routines. In 1997, a turning point emerged when he was hired as head of speech at XFM London Radio. To reduce his workload, Ricky interviewed and hired a lanky young man named Stephen Merchant for the position of personal assistant. The collegial relationship quickly transformed into one of the most seamless creative partnerships in British television history. The two began experimenting with short tapes about a boss delusional about his own authority, laying the rudimentary foundations for a mockumentary project. Still right on the threshold of a life-changing breakthrough, the first tragic event struck in 2000. His mother, Ava Gervais, passed away after a brief battle with lung cancer before she could see her son touch the spotlight. In July 2001, BBC Two officially broadcast the first episode of the sitcom The Office. With shaky camera angles in an authentic reportage style, the work instantly created an unprecedented cultural earthquake on the small screen. The persona of the pathetic but smug manager David Brent, played by Ricky, struck a deep chord with millions of viewers worldwide. At age 40, from an obscure man struggling to get by, Ricky Gervais suddenly became a world-leading screen phenomenon. In the midst of prestigious BAFTA awards pouring in, a second tragedy struck when his father Jerry passed away in 2002. The consecutive loss of both parents carved deeply into Ricky's consciousness the brevity and fragility of human life. Facing profound loss amid the peak of fame, Ricky once bitterly confessed, "All the awards and praise out there become meaningless when the people you want to see them most are no longer there." In 2005, licensing the American version of The Office with the NBC network unlocked a massive financial goldmine. Royalties and commercial revenue kept streaming in, propelling Ricky straight into the ranks of the most powerful entertainment millionaires. From a man who once had to count spare change to pay the electric bill, Ricky immediately spent millions of pounds purchasing a luxurious mansion in Hampstead. His rapidly accumulating net worth quickly turned him into one of the wealthiest comedians in the history of British television. The flood of wealth and pursuit in Hollywood had shattered countless marriages and long-standing romances in the entertainment industry. Nonetheless, in the face of luxurious invitations and a glamorous high society lifestyle, Ricky and Jane Fallon still chose to keep their private life closed. Jane Fallon, who was also achieving great success as a television producer at that time, always kept them both grounded. She once affirmed to the press, "Money only brings security and the freedom to turn down things we don't like. It cannot change who we are." They did not throw ostentatious parties or squander money on extravagant indulgences to flaunt their newly acquired social status. Instead, their tens of millions of pounds in wealth were turned into a sturdy shield protecting absolute freedom in their artistic and creative thinking. With millions of pounds pouring into accounts and fame spanning both sides of the Atlantic, the media began asking a single question: when will the wedding of the century take place? But the answer Ricky Gervais offered came as a direct slap in the face to humanity's longest-standing traditional norms. The Three No's Manifesto. Faced with persistent pressure from the public and the media for a wedding of the century, Ricky Gervais resolutely erected an impenetrable philosophical wall. To him, a traditional religious wedding was nothing more than a hypocritical charade. Explaining his refusal to step into a sanctuary for a ceremony, Ricky once made a shocking statement: "There is no reason for us to have a wedding in the eyes of God simply because there is no God." This unyielding declaration reflected an absolute rationalist worldview. He argued that standing before a priest to take vows in the name of a supernatural entity was an act of self-deception. For an atheist, taking part in religious rituals merely to appease social prejudices was a form of dishonesty. The artist always maintained that a marriage certificate issued by public authorities could not enhance the intrinsic value of genuine love. The bond between two mature individuals had to rest on free choice and mutual understanding rather than imposed obligations. The second pillar of the couple's philosophy of life was the definitive decision not to have children. Even during their difficult years in the 1990s, both Ricky and Jane agreed early on that the contemporary world was already overcrowded and fraught with insecurity. The comedian did not hesitate to admit that he suffered from excessive anxiety regarding the responsibilities of fatherhood. He once opened up about his perpetual obsession. "I would go crazy with worry if I had children. I would stay up all night checking whether the baby was still breathing." Well aware of their psychological limits, they proactively closed the door to parenthood to protect their inner balance. In place of children, they chose to raise loyal pets such as their cats, Ollie and Pickle, as a warm emotional anchor. Public prejudice often hastily assumed Jane Fallon was a dependent woman, sheltered in the brilliant shadow of her partner. In truth, the reality was quite the reverse, as she commanded an illustrious artistic career and an independent financial foundation. Before Ricky reached the pinnacle of fame, Jane was already a powerful television producer behind hit series such as This Life and EastEnders. By 2007, she further cemented her standing by becoming a leading novelist with numerous bestsellers. Armed with self-respect and a solid self-made fortune, Jane Fallon never needed a marriage certificate to secure her financial future. This autonomy ensured that her standing in the relationship remained entirely equal, devoid of dependency or constraints. The essence of their bond across more than 4 decades has been the complete harmony between two free and independent souls. They jointly share ownership of assets and live together under one roof, without requiring the intervention of law or religion. It was precisely this absolute freedom of thought and steadfast support from home that turned Ricky Gervais into an invulnerable figure. With nothing to lose, and unconstrained by any institution, he stepped onto the world's most powerful stage to unleash scathing strikes aimed directly at the elite. The Hollywood Rebel. In 2010, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association made a risky decision when inviting Ricky Gervais to host the 67th Golden Globe Awards. This event ushered in a series of 5 turbulent and volatile awards seasons in Western cinematic history. Refusing to follow the entertainment industry's traditional flattering scripts, Ricky turned the podium into a sharp satirical arena aimed directly at the powerful elite. The explosive climax occurred on the night of the 77th Golden Globe Awards. In front of hundreds of A-list stars, he coldly exposed the hypocrisy of the elite, attacking the murky ties between celebrities and notorious criminal figures. The entire Beverly Hilton ballroom seemed to hold its breath before his completely uninhibited remarks. He did not hesitate to criticize entertainment giants like Apple or Disney for exploiting labor in poor sweatshops. Ricky then delivered a blunt warning: "If you win an award tonight, do not come up here to lecture about morality. You know nothing about the real world." That explosive monologue quickly garnered hundreds of millions of views, globally turning him into a symbol of resistance against fake glamour. Rather than being ostracized by Hollywood, Ricky Gervais's name became more coveted than ever on the international market. Entering the 2020s, the wave of cancel culture spread everywhere, forcing numerous artists to watch every word they uttered. By contrast, Ricky Gervais chose direct confrontation through 3 stand-up comedy specials on the Netflix platform. The works Humanity in 2018, Supernature in 2022, and Armageddon in 2023 continuously shattered taboo boundaries in the television industry. He candidly presented razor-sharp satirical perspectives on gender identity, religion, and the hypersensitivity of contemporary society. Waves of criticism and petition campaigns demanding the removal of the specials immediately erupted from social advocacy groups. Facing public pressure, Ricky resolutely defended free speech. Comedy is a place to challenge all taboos, and no subject should be allowed to become an untouchable zone. That uncompromising steadfastness not only failed to extinguish his career, but also helped his personal brand reach its commercial zenith. The series Afterlife, along with exclusive performance contracts, turned him into one of Netflix's most valuable figures. By the end of 2023, Ricky Gervais's net worth officially crossed the estimated milestone of over 125 million British pounds. He held a high-value real estate portfolio, including a mansion in the wealthy area of Hampstead, along with a riverside retreat along the River Thames. Even with an immense fortune, Ricky did not let himself get swept into extravagant displays of status or a glamorous high-society lifestyle. Rather than accumulating wealth for corporations or the elite, he made early plans to transfer his entire financial legacy. In a meticulously prepared will, Ricky pledged to donate the majority of his fortune to animal protection organizations around the world. Right during the Armageddon tour, he directly allocated nearly £2 million from ticket sales to animal rescue funds. A brilliant career, financial freedom, and a steadfast love spanning more than 4 decades built a solid fortress for Ricky's life. No one could shake the standing of an independent artist who dared to rise above all social norms and fears. But even the proudest jester, the one who once laughed at the entire world and defied all power, could not escape a single enemy time. When the number 65 knocked on the door alongside life and death crises, Ricky's perspective on life, death, and even the marriage he once rejected took a completely unexpected turn. The raw reason at age 65. As the twilight of age gradually descended, Ricky Gervais announced a world tour titled Mortality. Instead of avoiding death, he chose to confront the finite nature of human existence directly with a sharp, satirical perspective. On stages in theaters, packed with tens of thousands of audience members, the artist did not hesitate to dissect the fear of oblivion and the physical aging process. He turned humanity's existential anxieties into biting laughter, reflecting the serene composure of an atheist. Still, the fragility of human life ceased to remain merely jokes on stage when the tragedy of illness struck unexpectedly in real life. A routine medical checkup brought a shocking diagnosis: Jane Fallon had breast cancer. The severe illness quickly plunged both into days of extreme tension along the corridors of specialized hospitals in London. Jane had to undergo 2 consecutive complex surgical procedures alongside strict treatment regimens to completely remove the tumors. That harsh life and death experience was like a splash of cold water thrown onto the peace they had preserved together for over 40 years. For the first time in his life, the specter of permanent separation appeared tangibly, directly threatening the life of his soulmate. Witnessing the lifelong partner lying on a hospital bed, Ricky once opened up about the moment of facing the brink of loss. That is when you realize your own ultimate vulnerability, when all fame and fortune are completely helpless in the face of fate. After Jane resiliently overcame her treatments and gradually recovered her health, this event prompted a comprehensive reassessment of the future. Crossing the threshold of age 65, Britain's proud jester decided to break the silence that had lasted for more than 4 decades. In an exclusive headline-making interview with Saga magazine, Ricky Gervais, for the first time, publicly mentioned the possibility of completing official marriage formalities. Even so, the reason behind this intention did not stem from belated romance or religious compromise. With raw, practical thinking, He admitted that the sole motivation driving him to sign a marriage certificate was to avoid the UK's 40% inheritance tax. Without legal bonds, the fortune accumulated over a lifetime would be severely diminished before reaching Jane. The comedian confessed candidly to the public, "We share money, we've lived together for over 40 years. Many marriages out there don't even last a year. If not for taxes, what is the point of marriage? It's crazy. I guess I'll have to get around to marrying before I die." This statement immediately sparked lively debates across international news outlets and social forums. The public realized that even when faced with the institution of marriage, Ricky still retained his sharp nature, resisting all dogmatic embellishments. To him, a marriage registration certificate was merely a pragmatic administrative tool to protect the economic interests of the surviving partner. It could not serve as a measure of loyalty, nor could it create any sacred value greater than 44 years of companionship. Without the need for ringing church bells or flowery vows before a deity, their life contract was already completely fulfilled. It was an unwritten commitment, built upon absolute loyalty, earthly understanding, and harmony, until the very last breath. In your opinion, is marriage a necessary guarantee for a relationship? Or is a voluntary commitment from the heart the eternal value? Leave your perspective right below in the comments section so we can discuss together. If you found this story thought-provoking, please press like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming videos. Goodbye, and see you in the next episodes.